Hello and welcome to Experts Corner. This is Maheen Jafri. Tonight we'll be taking a look at the diplomatic engagements of Pakistan and how Pakistan is making strides on the international stage, starting from Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif's visit to Bahrain. He's on a two-day official visit, of course, which would strengthen the brotherly relations between the two countries. And along with that, Iran's top security officials' visit underscores how important it is for Pakistan when it comes to commitment with the regional security and dialogue. Thirdly, not to forget, Pakistan's engagement with Russian energy delegation, of course, which shows Pakistan's proactive approach in securing vital partnerships. We'll be talking in detail regarding Pakistan's diplomatic success and achievements. Secondly, we'll be taking a look at Afghanistan providing safe havens to TTP, of course, in the light of the very important presser that was from the information minister, where we saw the video evidence coming from the Afghan Taliban. The Afghan side is totally planning these entire events. And we also know that DG ISPR refuted the claims made by the Afghan government and said that there is no such truth behind Pakistan conducting any strikes inside Afghanistan. And Pakistan, we know, has been urging Afghanistan to take decisive action against the TTP. But so far, nothing has been done. No concrete conclusion has come out of any dialogue process with Afghanistan. Now, to talk more about this, we have been joined by Farrukh Batafi as an analyst. Thank you so much, Farrukh Batafi, for joining in.
Thank you very much.
Farrukh, starting right from the diplomatic achievements of Pakistan, how do you see Pakistan making strides despite so many difficulties, despite so many challenges that Pakistan is facing? Not to forget the biggest challenge of terrorism, yet we see Pakistan making waves on the global stage. How would you look at it?
Right, absolutely. Maheen, this is very crucial to understand. The current duo, Prime Minister of Pakistan and then of course the Army Chief who is also CDF designate, right? Their presence has really worked wonders for the country. First of all, the Prime Minister, when he came to power for the first time, right? He actually went on a very aggressive push for reforming economy. Once the economy has actually found its bearing, then of course it was diplomacy. But then along came India's actions in May. Because of that, the whole apple cart was toppled, and now India is being seen as a liability and Pakistan a potential partner. Because of that, every country seems to be more open to working with Pakistan. You have seen China, of course, is a very close ally, and of course Saudi Arabia. Our alliance has been strengthened now. But apart from that, Arab countries, particularly GCC countries, Bahrain is a part of that, and others as well have opened up their hearts, and they think that here is a country that can really contribute immensely. So on one side, you see Prime Minister is visiting Bahrain. Of course, Bahrain has been very close to Pakistan for quite some time. But then naturally, because India seemed to be rising, so it had also developed relations with various GCC countries. But Pakistan seems to have recaptured the sentiment, and Pakistan has this aggressive push. Then of course, regarding Iran, once again, this international duo of bad actors, Israel and India, seem to have actually teamed up to corner Iran as well. So Iran's national security advisor was here. That was very important. His meetings have been very important because there is the talk of cooperation on war on terror front. And naturally, finally, Russia is a country that Pakistan practically in the the Cold War, Pakistan actually stood against the country. But we seem to have developed relationship incredibly well. And now there's talk of energy cooperation. The energy minister is here.
Farrukh Batafi, let's start with Bahrain. There have been talks regarding, increasing the bilateral relationship, and they also mentioned in the first meeting of Pak-Bahrain Parliamentary Friendship Group, and now this visit. How significant do you think is this visit for Pakistan in terms of the gaining momentum?
Yeah, of course. Remember one thing: when Israel chose to attack Qatar, right? That was a very interesting moment. That was a path-defining moment. It was clear at that time, although these countries, Qatar, UAE and Saudi Arabia have invested somewhere around $1 trillion each in the US. Despite that, it seemed that one of the closest allies, that is America, wasn't able to provide them with security. America seemed to have actually recaptured that imagination, and they have actually signed various agreements with these countries. But immediately we saw what happened. Saudi Arabia-Pakistan Defense Pact, which was to the level of Article 5 of NATO's charter, that is, an attack on one is attack on another. When it was that door opened up, we knew that other countries are going to open up their hearts and their minds as well. Of course, within GCC, there is this association of closeness, right? Oman is very close to Saudi Arabia. Similarly, when you talk about Bahrain, it is close to UAE. So, UAE and Bahrain are two countries which have actually established diplomatic relations with Israel as well. So these are very important critical players who have insight into everything. So Pakistan's working together. I hope one day all GCC countries forge a similar kind of defense pact with Pakistan as Saudi Arabia, because Pakistan can really help them and they can help Pakistan as well.
Absolutely. Farooq, it's a very interesting dynamic when Pakistan, has really made its name on the global front, especially regarding its fight against terrorism. And we know Pakistan is sharing a long border with Iran, where there are terrorist attacks happening as well at times. And the most important thing is Iran has also offered to mediate between Pakistan and Kabul. How would you see that effort coming from Iranian side?
Yeah, Iran, again, if you remember when Israel was attacking Iran, at that time something very interesting happening on social media, particularly even right now when various anonymous social media handles are being doxxed. What you realize is those presenting themselves as Israelis are essentially Indian. So India seems to have actually really burnt its boats, especially because their social media handles were also, sharing videos where Israeli and Indian intelligence operatives together were installing drone hangars inside Iran, which was supposed to attack Iran itself. So now, because India's magic seems to have waned, Pakistan has found again foothold, in that context also. Iran and Pakistan have been brotherly. Remember that while in the Cold War, Pakistan practically was on the other side, right? We were very aligned with the Americans and with the Arab countries, right? And at that time, Iran was fighting a war with Iraq. But Pakistan could do.
We'd like to come back to this comment. We are joined by Javed Malik, former ambassador to Bahrain. Welcome to the show. Can you hear us? Mr. Javed Malik, can you hear me? We're trying to establish connection with Mr. Javed Malik. Yes, very clearly we can see him. Mr. Javed Malik, if you can hear us, please. Okay, Mr. Javed Malik, thank you so much for joining in the show. Let's start with Pakistan's diplomatic engagement. We went on with the very important question that Pakistan, while grappling with so many issues, especially fighting a war against terrorism, yet it hasn't failed to make an impression in the world when it comes to diplomatic engagements. How do you see Pakistan engaging itself on the world stage, especially when it comes to Bahrain?
Well, I think Pakistan's diplomatic engagement globally has been very impressive. I think this is a positive element of our foreign policy, and credit goes, of course, not only to our Foreign Office, but also the Prime Minister and, of course, the Field Marshal for, leading this initiative, not just within the Gulf region. We'll come to Bahrain in a minute, but globally also, if you've seen in Europe, in the US, within the Central Asian states, Pakistan has been very positively engaging with the rest of the world, trying to present its narrative in a positive manner to highlight the positive aspects of Pakistan's diplomatic engagement. When it comes to Bahrain, Bahrain, of course, is an important country, not only within the GCC, but also in the Muslim world. The Kingdom of Bahrain is an important ally of Pakistan. I've had the pleasure of serving as the ambassador of Pakistan in Bahrain, and I can tell you from personal experience that the people and the government of Bahrain hold the people and the government of Pakistan in high esteem. We have a very historic, deep-rooted relationship, of course, which is reflected in the various high-level visits that we've always been having, not just now. Of course, Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif is in Bahrain as we speak, but these engagements have been going on for decades. I mean, I remember the current president, President Zardari, he visited when he was the prime minister in his first tenure in 2011. We've had visit of His Majesty the King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa, the King of Bahrain, to Pakistan. There was a visit by Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif. Once again, I was part of that visit. So I've had a lot of experience in looking at how close this relationship has been evolving. And I think Pakistan's Foreign Office and, of course, our leadership, not only at the political level, but also at the parliamentary level and at the military level, have been engaging. So you've recently had the visit, I believe, of the Speaker of the National Assembly, I think, and also had a visit by the Speaker of the Parliament in Bahrain. We also had a visit by the Joint Chiefs of Army Staff, and of course the Chief of Army Staff also visited. So strategically, diplomatically, as well as the parliamentarian on the parliamentarian level between people-to-people contacts, I think Pakistan and Bahrain have been positively engaging over the decades, and this seems to be getting a fresh impetus by this recent visit by Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif.
Right. Javed Malik Saab, good to see you after a long time. I have a question regarding the potential of cooperation between Pakistan and Bahrain. On one side, of course, we see the trade volume is still paltry. It isn't what it is supposed to be. Of course, there is this ambition to raise it to $1 billion. But what else can we expect from the visit? So, can you tell us about the upshot? What exactly are the tangible outcomes that might be expected?
It's always good to see you, Mr. Farooq. There has been, as I briefly explained in my earlier, comments, that the historic and the strategic relations have always been strong. We, of course, the focus has been now on sort of taking forward this relationship towards economic engagement and increasing our economic relationship, trade and, of course, investment for both sides. You will remember that we held the first Pakistan-Bahrain Opportunities Conference in Islamabad a few years ago, and the Commerce Minister of Bahrain, His Excellency Zayed Al-Zayani, came to Pakistan with 100 businessmen, and of course also the chairman of the Bahrain Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Khalid Al-Moyed, was there. We had some, engagements with the business community in Islamabad as well as in Lahore and in Karachi. So both leaderships of Pakistan and Bahrain are very much aligned when it comes to expanding and enhancing our economic engagement. But you rightly said that the potential is much greater than where we stand right now. Now, why is that? There are a number of reasons. We can go into it. But I think if you look into it, there is tremendous potential. Pakistan has a strong food and agricultural based economy. Bahrain needs, food and agriculture. I think that is an area where we should really focus upon. We also have a growing IT industry, thanks to, a very dynamic leadership that we have at the moment. And of course, you must have been seeing that, there has been lots of, visits by the IT teams of Pakistan. We've got the crypto currencies, the Virtual Assets Authority also being established. So I think if you look at Bahrain as well as the Gulf countries in general, there's a lot of focus on economic development, of course, but on the technology-based economic development. So Pakistan has to focus on, ensuring that our IT exports can be increased. Furthermore, our IT skilled professionals can be engaged in the Bahrain, economic story. You've got the crypto, currencies. You've got digital technology, digital innovation, robotics, AI. These are the areas that Bahrain is focusing upon, and of course, Gulf in general. So Pakistan has to align with these priorities if we really want to expand our economic engagement.
Absolutely, sir. I'm so glad that you spoke about IT potential and AI, because Bahrain is one of those countries which have really taken off recently, right? And they seem to have made it already. But regarding integration of AI in their economy is a question, because I've seen how much Saudi Arabia and UAE have invested in AI. Do you think that Bahrain is also coming up regarding the investment and scaling up of its involvement in AI, and we can actually get some part of that action as well?
Farooq Saab, absolutely. I think technology, AI, robotics, cloud computing, all of these things, especially electric vehicles, clean energy, these are the subjects that are up for discussion in all over the world. All the economies, all the world economies, including Bahrain and the Gulf, are focusing on these areas. Whoever is aligned with that will be a partner in this economic growth. I think the focus on technology remains to be, I think we need to re-engage, we need to revisit our relationship. I think we have a very strong potential. I'm very impressed with a lot of development that Pakistan has made when it comes to technology, and some of our young people who are very talented. I think they are in the right direction. I was very happy to see one of our Pakistani-based startups being taken up at in the US for about $7 billion. That was a good achievement. Within the Gulf region, there are many Pakistani origin entrepreneurs focusing on technology that are doing wonders. And I think we need to really engage with them, as well as reprioritize our engagement with the Gulf in general, Bahrain in particular, and of course the rest of the world too, because all of the countries are now focused on economic development through technology. It's very good to see Pakistan also making some strides in that direction, but I think more needs to be done. And if that can happen, I think we can not only be partners with Bahrain in that, but in the rest of the GCC countries. You mentioned Saudi Arabia. They recently had the Future Summit. If you must have remembered it, maybe you have covered it as well. Their entire focus is on ensuring that the future of economy is ensured through the investment in the right areas, so that they cannot be left behind. There is a concept that many technology experts will tell you that it's a widely held belief that many top companies in the world that you see right now may not exist in 10 years' time. And many of the biggest companies in the world have not even started yet. This is what is being talked about. People that are investing in technology in the future of their economies are the ones that are going to be shining in the future. And I'm sure Pakistan will be a partner of these countries in the future.
Absolutely, Javed Malik. Since we're talking about different domains, we're talking about IT and agriculture and economy. Let's talk about security dynamics as well. How do you see the significance of these MOUs, if any, signed with Bahrain, would really affect the security ties between Pakistan and Bahrain? Strengthen them. For example, let's say in police training and mutual legal assistance.
Absolutely. See, Pakistan, alhamdulillah, is a very strong country, not only economically but strategically, especially after this recent skirmish with India. The way our brave and valiant armed forces, prevailed upon this situation really enhanced Pakistan's image globally. I think every country understands that, and I think when it comes to Bahrain, the engagement between Pakistan armed forces and Bahrain Armed Forces has always been there. I just mentioned to you earlier that the Field Marshal Sayyid Asim Munir recently visited Bahrain. When I was there, even at that time, we used to have very frequent visits by our military leadership. Incidentally, Pakistan is also a part of the coalition support. And our Navy is very heavily engaged in Bahrain in that part of the world. So our strategic and security engagement with Bahrain has always been there. It's very strong, and I'm sure under the leadership of Sayyid Asim Munir, it will continue to grow. Bahrain, of course, regards Pakistan as a brother country. Not only Bahrain, but of course the rest of the GCC countries. Pakistan and the GCC believe in a very peaceful, regional politics. Pakistan has no aggressive designs against any country. We just want peace and stability with the rest of the world, and that is very much what the Gulf countries also want. So I think the security cooperation, the strategic cooperation is very much aligned, and it is steadily growing in the right direction.
Right, sir. Regarding Bahrain again, given that the country now seems to have gained a lot of momentum, and we saw what Arab Spring did to the country, right? It did a number. Of course, there is a security concern that it keeps on looking at. Do you think that there can be some expansion or some copying of what we have done with Saudi Arabia regarding this agreement? Because if I'm not mistaken, Pakistan has incredible representation in the police force of Bahrain also. So maybe Pakistan can ensure a similar kind of cooperation as we have with Saudi Arabia.
Well, the thing is, a strategic and security cooperation with Bahrain has always been there. It's always been there in terms of training, in terms of knowledge exchange, in terms of sharing intelligence, in terms of ensuring peace and stability in the region. As I said, Pakistan is a partner in the coalition support. Our Navy is very heavily engaged within that region with the rest of the world. Pakistan believes in maintaining very positive engagement on all areas. As far as the security, you mentioned the security pact with Saudi Arabia, which is a very welcome step, and I've already touched upon that. Pakistan, its reputation has greatly enhanced, not only in the Gulf but in the rest of the world, due to the valiant, the way our brave armed forces and the Air Force defended the country when it was, faced with aggression. So I think. These are subjects that I think we may leave to the army and them to discuss as to what exactly the nature of that cooperation would be. Once it is highlighted, we can definitely debate upon it. But right now, I think the cooperation already exists. And I can tell you, I've served as an ambassador in Bahrain. That cooperation is very positively engaged on all fronts. And I think it will continue to grow. The Prime Minister's visit will have all these areas to be discussed. The Field Marshal has also visited, and I think whatever might come out in terms of security cooperation, once it is being announced, we can definitely discuss upon it. But I think the focus primarily will be on economy. As far as I understand, they're focusing on expanding the economic engagement. And you might be aware that His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa, the King of Bahrain, had gifted the King Hamad University of Medical Sciences to Pakistan. Coincidentally, I was the ambassador at that time when we laid down the foundation stone, I think, in Islamabad. And that university is due to open anytime soon. And I think that symbolizes the deep-rooted relationship of our country. I mean, this would be the first nursing and medical sciences university in Pakistan, which will give degrees at an international level, because it is aligned with an international medical university in Ireland. And I think it is a symbol of friendship between Pakistan and Bahrain. I'm sure you've seen it on your drives through Islamabad. It's in SHEHBAZ'S area.
Right, absolutely impressive it is. And since we were talking about Pakistan being engaged with different countries, especially on different levels, be it the parliamentary exchanges or joint ministerial commissions, how do you think they play an important role when it comes to deepening ties? Let's talk about Pakistan and Bahrain first.
Absolutely. So, don't want to blow my own trumpet, but the first joint ministerial commission between Pakistan and Bahrain was held, I believe, in 2016. I remember that the Foreign Minister of Bahrain, His Excellency Sheikh Khalid Al Khalifa, had visited Pakistan. I was part of that visit also. Our Foreign Minister at that time was Sartaj Aziz Saab, may God bless his soul. And of course, Tariq Fatmi, who was still there. And Foreign Secretary, I believe, was Aizaz Chaudhry. It was the first joint ministerial commission held in Islamabad, which really identified around 8 to 10 core areas of cooperation. And since then, we've had another session which was held in Bahrain. I think at that time Shah Mahmood was the foreign minister. He had visited. So the engagement at the Joint Ministerial Commission level, which you have very rightly pointed out, is indeed the right forum through which engagements can grow and expand. And I think we are very much in line with that. I think there is also focus on expanding the people and business-to-business relationship. I think a lot of potential exists there, but I think we've not really fully tapped into it. I think it's not due to lack of trying, but I think, a visit takes place, but sometimes priorities change. When, you go to another country, prime minister is one person, and of course, foreign office is dealing with the entire world. So they can actually lay down the frameworks, but it's up to the people, the business community, to really take advantage of these frameworks. And that is where I think we need to make more efforts. As governments, as ambassadors, or as foreign office, we can create the framework, which I think is very much there. I think we need to engage more with our chambers of commerce, with our business people within Pakistan and within Bahrain. More needs to be done. We can facilitate it, government can facilitate it, but at the end of the day, government does not do business. Business has to be done by the people. And I think that is where we need to focus a little bit more upon. And I'm sure the current leadership will do that. And I think on a private level, we are also working with the business community to ensure that this private sector engagement can expand and grow.
Absolutely. Javed Malik sahab, speaking to you, actually, the whole history of your great service to this country, especially in Arab countries, was flashing before my eyes. So I was just thinking that while you have the opportunity, and I mean it, although you come actually from my profession, so I've known you as an anchor as well, but that is an amazing, segue. I was saying that maybe you should also document your experiences and also your understanding of that region, because Pakistan can do with some kind of written guidance as well.
Thank you very much for this. I'll be very happy to, join you in future programs and discuss things. If you want me, I'll be very, very happy to do so.
Right. Also, Javed Malik Saab, since we're talking about the diplomatic achievements, not just Bahrain and Pakistan, let's take a look at the bigger picture. Now, Pakistan is engaging with other countries as well. We know that National Security Advisor of Iran is here, and obviously has praised Pakistan on its efforts on the war against terrorism. And it has also, offered mediation role between Pakistan and Kabul. How important and significant do you think that is for a country like Pakistan, which is right in the middle of this fight against terrorism?
See, Pakistan has always maintained that Pakistan wants a peaceful, coexistence with all its neighbors, whether it is Afghanistan, whether it is Iran, whether it is even India for that matter. Pakistan has never had any aggressive designs against anybody. On the contrary, Pakistan has been hosting Afghan refugees for, I think, from as long as I've been alive. I am from Islamabad. And I remember when we were in school, we used to have friends from the Afghan refugee community coming there. And, we were welcoming them with open arms. It's not just me. I think everybody in my generation, we have always viewed Afghanistan and will continue to view Afghanistan and the people of Afghanistan as our brothers. We are brothers in kin and kith and kin. We have the same faith. We have, same history. We have, I think, and I would like to say that we also have a shared future. There's a lot of opportunity for Pakistan and Afghanistan to work together in, moving away from these extremist ideologies and moving towards progress and prosperity. And I think that is what Pakistan has always maintained. Similarly with Iran, of course, they are our neighbor, and we want very peaceful coexistence with them. And like I said, even with India, Pakistan has never had any aggressive designs. It's just from the other side, they have always been, unfortunately hostile because of their own issues. And as a result, whenever we have been attacked, we have defended ourselves, but we do not have any, aggressive designs against anybody. And that is what I say, not only as a former ambassador, but as a citizen of Pakistan, as somebody who has been looking at the regional politics for, almost all of my life. Iran is a very important Muslim country, a very important regional country, a very strong economy. Of course, they've had their challenges because, of course, their relationship with the US and many other countries has not been the way it should have been. So Pakistan welcomes any positive engagement. The visit of the advisor is welcomed, and I think that is a positive step. I think Pakistan, Iran, and Afghanistan share a lot of history together. If we can all work out our differences and work together in terms of ensuring that we can focus our energies towards, educating our masses, towards providing healthcare to our people, and sharing ideas to grow with the rest of the world. Like we talked about technology, that is where the world is going. If we are going to be able to resolve and reconcile our differences, only then can we progress. Even the people of Afghanistan want progress. They want prosperity. They want education. They want health. They want prosperity for their young people. Pakistan has the same goals. Iran would have the same goals. And I think we have a lot more in common than we have, in terms of many areas that we may not see eye to eye. But these are just differences of opinion which can be resolved through diplomatic means. As far as Afghanistan is concerned, I'd like to say just one thing that, Pakistan, the people of Pakistan and people of Afghanistan share a lot of love with each other. And I think that should be the focus where our relationship would be. And I'm very hopeful that this visit by the advisor, will always be positive in terms of ensuring regional peace and stability.
Thank you so much, Javed Malik, former ambassador to Bahrain. Absolutely wonderful to have you on our show and for your comments as well. This was our first segment. Tafi, if you want to conclude in one-liner before we wrap.
Right. A very difficult task, but I think that Pakistan should be really now planning for a much better future where we can cooperate with most of these countries that we thought very difficult to work with. I'm not talking about Bahrain, we already work with them, but Iran and Russia were very difficult. But now look at offshore drilling potential and then insulin production cooperation. And with Russia also, there's this talk of reviving the steel mills, Karachi steel mills. So if that happens, there is this huge potential coming our way that we can really exploit. I hope that whatever progress is made, it is inclusive and people of Pakistan benefit
Absolutely.
out of that.
Farooq, and now we move towards the second segment of our program, which is, of course, about Afghanistan and the TTP being involved in the latest terror attacks. Not just that, we also provided video evidence in the form of a presser by Information Minister Atta Tarar, and DG ISPR refuted any claims like the Afghanistan government was accusing Pakistan of conducting airstrikes inside Afghanistan. Nothing like that has happened. Well, we are joined by Brigadier Retired Syed Nazir, defense analyst and security analyst. Thank you so much for joining in.
Thank you. Indeed.
Brigadier Saab, let's start with a very fact. If we look at the presser by the Information Minister yesterday, there was an entire narration, a story, a video evidence in front of the entire world. Pakistan has presented its case again and again, and yet there was another proof which cannot be denied. Your comments on that?
Well, of course, it has been a long time, and plus it is a consistent efforts of Pakistan, and plus the virtues to Pakistan through various means. That may be the conventional diplomacy, or that may be the religious diplomacy, or people-to-people diplomacy, or otherwise our approachment to Afghanistan has always been of engagement and an approach of reconciliation. And during these various meetings with the Afghan regime, it has always been that Pakistan has been presented irrefutable evidence regarding the presence of these proscribed outfits operating in Afghanistan, and they have got their own hideouts, and they have been provided with all facilitation in Afghanistan. And this is not only Pakistan which is talking in these terms or presenting such sort of evidence, but the world as a whole, and especially in the Security Council, the previous day, the Danish representative also said that, well, these outfits are a threat to the Central Asia as well as to the South Asia, and more so the Moscow format. They are also the Central Asian countries and the neighbors of Afghanistan. They also pointed towards the same thing, that these outfits are there and they are operating at will, and plus they are facilitated, and more so if they are not restricted or some sort of action is not taken against them. So naturally they are endangering the peace in the region. And of course, Pakistan, of course, is the most and the worst affected from this terrorism. So once we see it in that perspective, so all the evidence provided to the Afghan government, there has been a policy of imply and deny. And that policy, unfortunately, has been so many times challenged But once they meet with our representative, and then they confess it. But they give various pretexts. Sometimes they say that, well, we will settle them in the northern vilayats or regions of Afghanistan so that they don't come to the Pakistan border. Third time they say that, well, we will push them to Pakistan and then Pakistan should manage it. And once they are accepting these things in the Doha peace talks which were taking place, and also in Istanbul, etc. But once it comes to the action, once it comes to some sort of agreement, or once it comes to some sort of understanding and commitment and guarantee, so then they run away from it, and then they give various excuses. And then they blame Pakistan to manage its own house and manage the border. So the thing is that the relations and plus the border arrangement, and more so the bad taste and the mistrust and distrust has gone to the extent that there has been conventional exchange, kinetic exchange between the Pakistan forces as well as the Afghan forces. And that is the biggest blunder which was committed by the Afghan regime, because conventionally, of course, Pakistan cannot be matched. And more so, Pakistan has got the intelligence, that may be the human, or that may be the technical, or that may be otherwise. We know their landscape, we know their people, we know their leadership. So, of course, we are aware of many things. But unfortunately, they are still hanging to the same rope. And their rope is, unfortunately, it could be cut any time, because it is still an interim government. And there is, they have not fulfilled, or they have not fulfilled those promises which were made in the Doha One with the NATO and America, that their soil will not be used against any country. But still, they are using it, and they are harboring all these terrorist outfits. So in a way, that's why in the DGISPR briefing, it was also said that it is not only the support or facilitation provided, but it is the kinetic support which is also being provided. That is by breaching the fence which we have created or erected there. And more so, the soil is also being used, and they are provided with the weapon and explosive and all sort of devices. So these are the double standard, and more so this imply and deny. And third thing is that they have gone to the extent that they have straightway gone to our enemy, that is India. And now they want to rub the shoulders with them. And that is to the detriment of Pakistan. Otherwise, Afghanistan cannot benefit from any trade or from any virtues, that may be the good virtues from India, because India is not their neighbor. And Afghanistan is dependent on Pakistan, not on the India.
Right. Brigadier Sahib, you have very correctly and succinctly underscored the entire Pakistani paradox vis-a-vis Afghanistan. But now the question is, my question is actually two-parter. One is regarding what you were saying earlier, Doha Agreement. There seems to be something very interesting. Although Afghan Taliban don't seem to attack any other neighbor or facilitate attacks on them, they keep on attacking Pakistan. So I was reminded that there were some certain classified clauses in Doha Agreement. Are we sure? Do we know whether there was any mention of Pakistan there or not? Whether there was some kind of concession given to them that they can do whatever they want to? On the other side, the second part of the question, there seems to be, of course, Pakistan is suffering because of their attitude. But the question is, how do you punish a regime which is not recognized anywhere in the world? Then they also don't seem to have too many things to lose, especially because any action against their people would be against the people, and it won't hurt Afghan Taliban. How do you actually solve this issue?
Thank you. It is, of course, a very deep and incisive question. For the reason that the track record and the history, there are so many people who are talking that, well, former Soviet Union was not aware of the history or the culture or the people of Afghanistan. Well, some people say, well, the NATO and America was not aware. But as far as Pakistan is concerned, it is very much aware of its land geography as well as the people geography. And we know Afghanistan in and out. That may be the history, that may be the culture, that may be the social life, or that may be their behavioral approach towards its neighbor. And we have rightly said that while Pakistan is being singled out, because Pakistan is sharing a almost more than 2,600 kilometer border with Afghanistan, and the border is very rugged. And more so, the people living on both sides are tribes, and they're co-tribesmen and related in many ways. But still, and more so, the Walaits which are there joining Pakistan are all Pashtuns. So in the Pashtun code there is a Pashtun Wali. And beside being the neighbor, beside being the Islamic bondage, but the Pashtun Wali, the tradition is there. But unfortunately, that is not also being adhered. It means there is no values which they are heading. As far as the terrorists are concerned, they say they've got no religion or no values, or they chant no slogan, but they terrorize the people. So it means that the Afghan government has not come out from the militia mode. And the militia mode is still, from the last 4 years, it is operating and it is in action. So that's why the world has not recognized them. And more so the Pakistan, which did for them to asking the world to engage them, and plus freeze their, defreeze the amount which is in the various banks, especially the America, almost $9 billion. And most low Pakistan was an outpost for them, as a diplomatic outpost for them. But as far as the Doha agreement is concerned, there are certain, in the Doha one, certain clauses which are secret, which are known to the Americans or their allies, and especially to the Taliban. And there is one thing which we, I suppose we see it in a skeptical way, that how comes the Afghan National Army collapsed in 2 weeks, which was trained by all these Western powers. Second thing is that 15 days before the Kabul fell. And third thing is they decimated the first Afghan regime, and then they gave them the power for the second time. So, and more so, the weapons which are left there, which are used against Pakistan. So there are so many question marks which are being raised. One. Second thing is, as far as the Doha 2 is concerned, or the Istanbul talks are concerned, so there the mediators themselves got frustrated because their strings were somewhere else, and they will promise something, and second day they will renege from that. And third thing is that they will, the progress will be there, and second day again will be to the square one. So it means that the power which is there in the one is the pragmatic and another is the non-pragmatic idealist. So probably the idealist, they are calling the shots in Afghanistan, and they don't want to be pragmatic, and they don't want to have that relations. So coming to that is, of course, the regime is such that it is not bothered about the people welfare. That is the second part of your question. And third thing is, if Afghanistan is starving, the people are starving, or there is natural calamity, or the trade is closed, or they are not having any, you can say, good relation with the neighbors, and especially Pakistan and Iran, etc., Tajikistan. So, and more so, the outfits which are there in against the China as well, Eastern Turkmenistan Islamic movement, and so is the Uzbeks. So in that condition, if they are living, it means that there will be never a recognition to the Afghan regime. Second thing is that the people will be suffering from these, the way they are calling the shots, and not bothering about a government, a functional government. And third thing is that, well, if it continues, so probably there are fault lines in Afghanistan itself and in the Afghan regime itself. So that can be exploited, of course, if you are against all neighbors, and especially Pakistan, on which it is dependent almost about 70% in many ways. And their only outreach to the hot waters or to the world trade is through Pakistan. And more so, the people are also, beside the refugees which were there. So there are so many things on which they are dependent on Pakistan, but still they are depriving their people from the benefit which they got from Pakistan or getting from Pakistan. It is a foolhardy approach. It is not a people's approach. It is not a welfare approach, but it is only a militia approach, and the militia approach, of course.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Brigadier Retired Syed Nazir, Defense Analyst, Security Analyst, for joining our show. Thank you for your comments. And Farooq, towards the end, a very difficult question again, a one-liner.
Yeah, no, I think that Afghan Taliban should read the writing on the wall. If they continue to do whatever they are doing, it is only they who are going to regret, because Pakistan knows how to defend itself. And of course, whenever you talk about regional partners, and then they have this propaganda spin that somehow they keep on trying to convince that other countries are ditching us for them. That is not happening, right? So Afghan Taliban will be the people who will lose in the end. And I tell you one thing, because earlier you had to abruptly conclude the previous segment also. Our Prime Minister
Absolutely.
and our Army Chief, because of their good service, this country is very safe.
Absolutely.
And it will be ensured that all these people are taken to task.
Right. Thank you very much, Farooq Patafi, for your insights as well. This was all for tonight's show. It's Maheen Jafri signing off.